Yes, guys, what is going on? Welcome to episode 5 of the Sorare MLS Road to Glory. Hope you all had a good weekend. Let me know in the comment section how you got on this past weekend. I'll be giving away a couple of cards as usual in the comment section. Now, although it is an international break for the next couple of game weeks, the MLS does not stop for anybody. I don't think it's right in a way. Like, I think most leagues, like top leagues, should stop whilst there's international football on. But I'm not really going to complain that much because from a Sorare perspective, from an entertainment perspective, it's fun. It's amazing. We've still got MLS to look forward to this weekend. Although a lot of the star players are either injured, Messi, or maybe they're away with their their international teams like your Buangas. And players like that. So yeah, it's kind of a diluted MLS for a weekend or so, which is fine. It's better than no MLS, I think. And yeah, I've made a couple of moves. I've got rid of a couple of cards, brought in a few to get ready for this upcoming weekend, which is game week 64, I believe. But first of all, we have to recap what happened last weekend, unfortunately. Where we debuted the Atlanta United stack. If you don't know, if you're watching this and you're brand new, it's part of the Road to Glory, but it's not. This lineup is purely for your guys' gain. If I win any cash with this lineup here, the Atlanta United lineup every week, it all goes to you, no matter how much that is, $1,000, $10,000. Be nice if you can win that. $5, whatever it is, I'll turn that cash into a card or cards and I'll send them off to you. Yeah, this lineup was gifted to me by one of my members for running a half marathon a few weeks ago, and I did it in Atlanta, so it's a nice little thing to remember that by. But yeah, I don't want to sort of profit from it. I want to give anything I win away to you guys, so that's just out the way. They got battered by Inter Miami, so yeah, nothing to give away unfortunately this weekend, guys, and they're away this weekend coming up. Now, the main Road to Glory lineup did have an Atlanta United player in, Stan Gregerson, who is unfortunately away with the Norwegian national side this weekend. And so we are in need, well, we're not now, but we were in need of a defender, which I have covered for us, which I'll get into. But yeah, two decisives. We did get our captaincy right. Da Costa was the highest scorer, 69.7, 108.7 with the captain's armband. 1-1 draw with the Galaxy. Cole Bassett got a goal, but didn't couple that with his all-around score that he's been getting usually, so that was a bit disappointing. And what was even more disappointing was Rafael Navarro got a big chance missed. So a bit gutting about that because he could have won 4 goals in 3 games, I believe it would have been. But they beat San Jose. I weren't surprised that they beat them, but they beat them 2-1 away for the Rapid, which was a great result. Sean Johnson did concede 3. It got chalked off, thankfully. And then it ended on, thankfully just 2 goals conceded. A little bit of all-around score, but not enough to really shout home about. And then, the Gregerson score was just a bit meh. We brought him in for that weekend. It didn't pay off. And we were 67 points away from 350 points, which would have been the hot streak. If Navarro scores and gets maybe 10 AA, maybe we're there. But it's still a bit of a stretch. No all-around score from Bassett really killed us. And our top score being 69, you're never going to go too far in a competition. So it's an improvement. We're slowly building, but we're not necessarily where we want to be yet. And that's fine. We're working towards a goal. That's kind of what it's all about for me. As far as the spreadsheet goes then, I have updated the recent ins and outs. Well, 1 in, 1 out. And that is Diego Luna, who actually scored on the weekend, which is ironic because we've played him for 3 or 4 game weeks. He hasn't scored. And of course, the week before he goes away with the national side, he scores. I think somebody snap bought him. I had him listed. Look, I've taken a bit of a good amount of a loss on him, just under 10 quid. It was one of them where I had too many midfielders for one lineup right now. The goal is to eventually maybe get 2 lineups running. But for now, we've only got I only want to spend on one lineup. And having 4 or 5 midfielders in, to choose from is good. But on the other hand, it's if I'm not using 3 of them every weekend, it's a bit of a waste in a way. And Luna's fixtures weren't really great. He wasn't on, he didn't really start the season off very well. And it's just ironic that he scores, the week we end up selling him. But he's gone. And it's, not to say that I don't think he'll have a good season or anything. I think he'll probably kick on because he's just gone away with the national side. He hasn't played for them yet. I don't know whether he's going to. But, just being with them, that experience will be, sort of great for him. But yeah, we've banked that. So our total spend's at just under 90 quid now. And we did bring in a John Bell, who I need to add into here that he is in season as a defender for this weekend. I fancy Seattle to do pretty well this weekend. I was looking on Predictify of the experts over there do seem to think that John Bell will start, which I kind of agree with, to be honest, hence why I've bought him. I just think at home to Houston, we'll look at all the fixtures in a minute, collectively in the MLS, but I do think it could be, a good spot for him. And I paid, what did I pay? £1, eight pence for him, for an in-season card. He scored 24 AA on the weekend in a 1-0 loss away to St. Louis. And yeah, I needed a bit of cover for this weekend. Larea is still injured. Gregerson's away with Norway, like I've already said. So I think he comes in as a budget option, which works. Like, I'm not looking to spend a ton. This is me trying to do this on a budget. Like, I can't just do a Road to Glory and just spend tens of hundreds of pounds, on cards. I just don't think it, should be that way. I want it to feel restricted in some way. And it's self-restricted, by myself. I want to do it on a budget. I want to show you guys it is possible to have, bits of success on this game without, always spending a ton of money. That's kind of the goal. Whether we do it or not, who knows? But I do believe in myself that I'll eventually get there. I'm not saying I'm just going to go walk a competition this weekend or anything, but I do think we'll be, in the mix now and again, which is, I think, all you can ask for when you're playing on a bit of a budget. So yeah, he's been brought in, which I'm excited about. I was just going to review like the scores from last weekend. We've been doing that in the last couple of episodes. I think I hope you enjoy it, because yeah, it's just interesting to see what positions are scoring the most over the course of like the top 20 scorers. And it's kind of crazy how a lot of the defenders are scoring incredibly well. And it's just so ironic, because all I've said over the past weeks is that defenders are so bad on Sorare. They don't score very well in the MLS outside of maybe Zimmerman and maybe Kai Wagner. I'm being proven wrong here. Like, 4 defenders nearly scored. Well, 3 of them did score 100. One of them scored 99. Messi was up there. 5 defenders scored in above 96. So yeah, I'm kind of eating my words in a way, but they're defenders that, like, you can't really predict that some of these things are going to happen. You can't predict if, last man tackles and clearances off the line happen for Christopher McVeigh, for example. And like, yeah, Walker Zimmerman is a really good scorer. I won't knock that. Like, I'm not saying that this was expected, but I'm not necessarily surprised, to see him score really well, for Nashville, despite being away. Choupo-Moting, scored really, really well, which I was kind of surprised at. Lionel Messi obviously did his thing. Gutman, another defender. Biro, another defender. It was just defender central. Obviously, yeah, a couple of midfielders and goalies in here now. But Joe Waterman, defender. Zanka getting in with the action. Tavari in there. Noah Eli, one of the boys I like. Another defender. Tim Ream, another defender. Like, yeah, a lot of the dark green scores this weekend were defenders. And I think that was the case last weekend as well, if I'm being honest. But, that's not to say it will be this weekend, because... Well, maybe it will be, because, like I said, a lot of the stars aren't playing this weekend. They're away with their national sides, and yeah, it's kind of a diluted MLS this weekend, which is fine. We've still got, some good players still there and good matchups, to be had. Nashville at home to Montreal seems really good. I don't think Nashville are losing a ton of players to international. Dewey, like, Zimmerman doesn't go away, which is great for people who have Nashville and Zimmerman cards. Charlotte at home, New York Red Bulls at home. Sounders at home to Houston, hence why I bought that. John Bell. Orlando at home to DC. The Crew at home to New York. Like, there is some heavy hitters at home here. I won't deny that. And there could be some big scores this weekend, judging off of the matchups here. We've got a couple of the Rapids lads, of course, at home to Portland Timbers, which I like. Minnesota at home to the Galaxy. Austin at home to San Diego. Real Salt Lake at home to Dallas. So yeah, it's going to be one of those weekends where it's going to be carnage, as it usually is. Do I expect there to be a ton of defenders scoring incredibly well? Maybe, but I think it'll level out this weekend. I think there'll be more midfielders and forwards in that top 20 list. That's just my hunch. I don't have any sort of real data to back that up. That's just kind of going off a whim there. But yeah, let's get into some lineup building then. We'll cross-reference Predictor 5 for some of the lineups. Now I'm going to do the community lineup first, which is the Atlanta United stack. But unfortunately, they don't have 5 starting players this weekend because Almiron's away, as is Gregerson. So I went and bought a Pablo Ruiz in season card, who I am going to give the captain's armband to because it is a good matchup. And he's basically going to replace Diego Luna in that Real Salt Lake side this weekend. He was like £2 or £3. He's in season, so anything this lineup wins will be going to you guys. It's not necessarily part of the road to glory, but we'll include it in here for now. Now the main lineup is, of course, going to be led by Sean Johnson, unfortunately. Away to the Red Bulls. It's the only sort of barred matchup we have, to be honest, which it's annoying because it's the goalkeeper. It's a very important position. But at the same time, like, the Red Bulls aren't like free score. Like, they're not scoring a ton of goals right now. 2s, 1s. I'm not necessarily that scared that he's going to... He might concede 3. Like, I'm not saying that can't happen. But, like, I'd kind of be shocked if he did. Like, I don't think the Red Bulls possess a ton of firepower. Now, the only contemplation I have is really, like, I want to keep Bassett and Navarro together. But Joaquin Pereira or David da Costa is really the conundrum for me. Both in season, of course, so that doesn't matter. But it's more the fact that, da Costa's away to the Rapids, which I don't mind them playing against, specifically Bassett and Navarro. Like if I had a Colorado defender, then I'd be maybe a bit picky with that. But I don't, or a Colorado goalkeeper, of course. I would never play, Colorado keeper against David da Costa, who's playing against them. It just doesn't make any sense. The sort of thing that's going for da Costa and goes against Pereira is the fact that Pereira always seems to play like 60 or 70 minutes. And even so, like this game here, he came off the bench and they won. Whereas da Costa, like, okay, he only played, played 79, played 90. I just think he has more in his game as far as minutes go, outside of the first game, than what Pereira does. Not to say Pereira couldn't go and play 90 now, but the Minnesota manager does seem to like to rotate. And so the conundrum is, like, can Pereira in 60, 65 minutes outscore, da Costa in 75 to maybe 90 minutes? So that's what I've got to wrestle with in my head. Pereira's at home. The matchup is better for him compared to da Costa. But at the same time, da Costa takes all set pieces. Like, he has a massive monopoly on set pieces. If we go to Portland Timbers, go to last 5, as you can see, he's taken 14 out of the last 17 corners, which is a good sign, right? That just does help you when it comes to, potentially getting assists. And I'll probably wrestle with that conundrum, da Costa and Pereira, up until the deadline, to be honest. For now, I'm going to put Pereira in there just because it's the home fixture, and I'm going to captain Navarro. And yeah, we're just praying that John Bell gets the nod in that back three for Seattle. Like, I'm relatively confident in that team. 4 home fixtures, Sean Johnson away. I know it's not easy against the Red Bulls, like we've said, but I'm not like super scared of it. I did load up on a couple of cards as far as XP goes. Who did I boost? I boosted John Bell once. Well, all the cards that you can see that has a cooldown. So yeah, all the cards I'm looking to start basically. John Bell, Pereira, Sean Johnson, Navarro and Bassett. I boosted them all up by 1%, which means, there's 5% extra on the total score of the cards, which, is never a bad thing. The more XP your cards have, it can only be a good thing. And yeah, so I'll keep an eye on that. They're the only ones I'm really worried about for now. As far as, I can only play 5 cards, so I'm not really too worried about. Now, one thing I do need to do is swap these around. I don't want the Atlanta stack in Division 2 because my Road to Glory should be in Division 2, so I need to swap those around. But yeah, that's basically what we're going in with for this upcoming weekend. Atlanta away to Cincinnati. I'm not expecting much, but you never know. There could be a couple of cards in there, to go give away to you guys after the game week. And like I said, I will definitely be giving away that Pablo Ruiz next episode for sure. But as usual, there'll be a few giveaways in the comment section of this video. Just leave your Sorare gallery name. And yeah, lads, I'm buzzing for the weekend. Like I said, it's international break, so it feels a bit weird that we still have the MLS, but I'm going to take it. I'm not going to complain. I'll be watching a couple of these games this weekend. And yeah, looking forward to all the chaos that occurs. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and I shall see you guys in the next one.